Haley, and today I'm going to be doing my top 7 must-reads for college students. So this video is a little bit different in the fact that it's a recommended reads video, but it's for a particular time in your life rather than a particular genre or kind of something within a genre. So I think I'm going to also do one of these for high school students. Let me know if you would be interested in that. But these are basically books that I think would be really helpful to a college student, whether they're about to go into college or they're just starting or they've been in college for a while. These are just basically the books that I think would be really great to read in that time of your life where you're kind of trying to figure out who you are and starting to become an adult. So I myself am in my 3rd year of university, so these are just kind of speaking from personal experience, the books that I have read during my university career, and I have found them the most relatable and the most helpful. So I think each of them has like a different reason why they really helped me and why I found them really appealing, and they don't necessarily all take place in college, but there's something that I have found about them that I think has been really helpful in this time of my life, so I figured I would share them with you guys. And these are all YA contemporaries. I'm not going to be talking about classics because I have not read enough classics to tell you which ones you should read during college, so once I do, then I will do a video about that, but that probably won't be for a really long time. So these are all YA recommendations, so they're just kind of the easy reads that I like to read after studying classics all day. They're just kind of nice, fun books that I think are really relatable. So the first book that I wanted to talk about today is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. So this book is told in 2 different times. One part is told from the one twin's perspective, and that part takes place during high school, and the other part is from when they were really young, and that is told from the other twin's perspective. It's basically the story of these 2 twins, Noah and Jude, who they were really close in their youth, but now they're finding that they're growing apart, and it's kind of them trying to deal with that and kind of get back to each other as they're changing interests and they're trying to figure out who they are. I think this one really spoke to me because it's kind of about growing apart from people and learning to accept that, but at the same time realizing that some people you really do need to keep in your life and you do need to make an effort to kind of reconnect with them, because when you transition from high school to college, you're not going to talk to like 90% of the people that you talk to in high school ever again. And I think at first that's really hard to accept, but this book kind of shows you who is worth keeping around and who isn't, and it's also really just a coming of age story about trying to come to terms with who you are and really accept that, like in terms of your sexuality, figuring that out, just figuring out your personality and really who you want to be in the world. I think this book does a really good job of hitting all those pinpoints of growing up that teenagers really struggle with, and it does it in a really beautiful and amazing way. And it's a story about siblings too, which I think is really interesting because I feel like when you're coming into adulthood, your relationship with your siblings completely changes, because when you're younger you fight with them a lot, but in adulthood you kind of rely on them more and you really become companions, and this book really deals with that really well. The next book that I wanted to talk about is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I'm sure if you've read this book, it's no surprise to you that this book has made it into this video. This is one of my favorite books. I really, really love it. It's my favorite Rainbow Rowell book, and I think if you're going to read only one book off of this list, you should definitely read this one. Especially as an English major, this book was so helpful to me. It's the story of Kath, who is also a twin. I just realized that. But Kath and her sister Ren, they are both going off to college, and it's kind of the story of them once again kind of becoming separate in college, and Kath is trying to kind of learn who she is because she's always had her identity as this girl who is obsessed with Simon Snow in that whole universe, and now she kind of has to grow up and get over that, and Ren realizes that, but Kath really doesn't. She's kind of still holding on to that. So this is kind of a book about coming out of your shell and really being an independent person, because that's the biggest thing about college. You are so independent. You have this independence that you think you know what independence is in high school, but you really don't until you're in college. Everything is on you, and you have to kind of learn to figure out what you like, what you want to do with your your life, and it's a lot of things. It's really overwhelming, and I think this book kind of puts it into perspective, and it does a really great job of that. It does a lot of the same things as I'll Give You the Sun, but this one is actually set in college, and you see Kath like in her first classes. It's not really like she was expecting, so she's kind of starting to question if she really wants to be an English major, which I definitely did in my first year, because they bombard you with all of this old stuff, like all this old English stuff that you can't even make sense of. So I think they're trying to weed out the people who aren't really cut out for it, but it's so overwhelming that I really contemplated, like, is this really what I want to do with my life? But you really just need to stick it out, and I think this book really shows that. And it also shows trying to, it has a lot of family stuff, not only with the sisters but also with the parents, which I think is really interesting. This book is honestly just really, really fabulous, and it really spoke to me when I read it, especially since I was in my second year as an English major. I think if you're an English major, you should just read this. The next book is Winger by Andrew Smith. This is another book that actually takes place in high school, but it's about a boy who he's actually supposed to be a freshman, but he's a sophomore because he started school earlier than everyone else. So I think this book really speaks to trying to make friendships when you feel like you just don't fit in and anywhere and you're really different than everyone else. I think it does a really great job of touching upon a lot of really kind of taboo subjects, and it does it in a way that is amusing but not offensive, which I think is really great. I just really enjoyed the story of Ryan Dean and seeing him trying to kind of fit in a place that he really feels like he doesn't, like, because he feels like he should really be a freshman, but he's stuck with the sophomores, so he's really intimidated by all these people. And I know in university, meeting all these new people and having all these like older people around you in your classes, it's really intimidating, but and it can kind of make you intimidated from making friends, but this book really shows that you can find friendship anywhere, and I think it's really lovely. The next book that I wanted to talk about is Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. I really love Morgan Matson. I think she does a really just fabulous job with her books. They're fun, but they also pack a real punch. This one is about a girl whose father has just died, and now she's moving, and she's going on this cross-country road trip with this boy to go, that she's like, it's an old family friend, so they're going to get the car there and all that stuff. That's not really important right now, but this is really a story of finding yourself and trying to deal with what you've been given in life. This is obviously an extreme case because she's just lost someone that she really cares about, but it's kind of about getting out of your shell and putting yourself out there, because she's in this like weird, uncomfortable situation with Roger, and she's going on this adventure, and she's been given this kind of like set directions where she's supposed to go by her mom, but her and Roger just decide to go where they want, and I think that's a really good kind of metaphor for what you should do in life, not follow the set directions and just kind of go with the flow. So I think this book is really lovely in the fact that it's helpful to kind of find yourself. Next is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. This is another book that is set in high school, but I think this is one where it's kind of about growing up and maturing. It really focuses on that a lot, and it's once again kind of a sibling thing. The sister has actually gone off to college, so I think this one would be good for really anyone who has someone who goes away for college, maybe if you're staying behind. It's kind of a way it shows you ways to kind of deal with that and come to terms with the fact that you're not going to be able to see that person every day anymore. I think this book is really great for that, and once again, it's also really about maturing and becoming independent, which I think is something that all of these books have and is really important for if you're looking for something to help you in college. The next book is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. This book is another one that takes place in high school, but it's about a girl who goes away. She goes to France to a boarding school there, and she meets this guy, and it's all just lovely and romantic and awesome. But this book really kind of deals with if you yourself are going away for college or whatever, and then you come back, it's kind of dealing with the fact that life doesn't pause when you leave. Like, things are going to keep on going on, and they might not go the way that you want them to. So it's kind of dealing with the fact that your life isn't going to be the same when you get back home, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't like enjoy your time away. You're kind of making a new life for yourself. So I think it's really a book about acceptance and moving on, amongst other romantic things. And finally, I have the Just One Day duology by Gail Forman, which consists of Just One Day and Just One Year. These books are really fabulous. It's about a girl. It starts when she is on this trip across Europe. It's her last summer before she goes to college, and she decides to take this risk and go with this guy that she has just met to Paris for just one day. But then I thought that it only followed that in the first book, but it also follows her first year of college. So it's really interesting because you get to see her anticipating college, really nervous about it, and then you also get to see her in college and seeing how she's dealing with it. I think this book is another one. This one and Fangirl, I think you should definitely pick up if you're gonna read any from this list. This one just, it really shows how when you go to college, you're kind of losing who you are, because as a child you feel like you knew who you were, but you're asked to make all these really important decisions all of a sudden. So you're moving away from home, you're getting this newfound independence, and it's really intimidating, and it can kind of really affect you and your psyche and everything, and you can really suffer for it. So I think this book is really about kind of dealing with that and just living despite the fact that, like, learning to live this new life that you have and learning to love the new independence that you've finally come into. So those are all of my recommendations for this video. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Let me know if you guys have any college reads that you find were really helpful for you in college, like they can take place in college or whatever. And also let me know if you would be interested in a high school version of this video, as well as I was thinking of doing kind of like an organization video of how I manage with school and YouTube and finding time to read for fun and work and all that stuff. So let me know if you guys would be interested in more stuff about my schooling and all that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!